Well, greetings, Robert Locke here. We're going through a series of videos we call myths of property management. Myths being something that we kind of think on the surface is true, and we kind of embrace it and tell others about it and kind of think it's real. But when you tease it and tear it apart and pull it back, you find that it not always as true as you might think. In fact, some are blatantly false. And the one we're talking about today is we call myth number 7. It goes like this: having a scope of service really isn't that important, right? Now, we operated for 10 years in our business at Crown from 1980 to 1990, even to the early 90s, without a scope of service. And it made our business a lot harder. We didn't make much money. And it was cumbersome and clunky and arduous, and we had all kinds of tension and conflict with owners that really didn't need to be there. And the scope of service solves all of that. A scope of service is a primary building block of your management business. It's something that will make your business run smoother. It'll make you more profitable. It will reduce conflict with your owner. And it's just a document that lays out what you do for the fees you charge. It puts limits on what you do for your fees. We got, like many of you, we got caught up in doing all kinds of things for owners that we didn't really expect to and weren't getting paid to, and in some cases didn't know how to do. And we had owners just like you that bullied us into handling their home warranties and the utilities and their property line disputes and their insurance claims and making their HOA dues payments and handling HOA issues. And there's tons of things that owners kind of expect you to do. And if you don't have a document that says, here's what we do for the fees we charge, your $80 a month or $100 a month management fee, whatever that is, here's what we do for that, you'll get bullied and pulled and pushed into all kinds of things that will make your job much more difficult and not allow you to make enough money to cover all the labor it takes to do those tasks. It gives you multiple opportunities to get paid for tasks that are outside of your scope of service. So what we're going to do is look through 5 or 6 reasons in this video why you need a scope of service and how to kind of put one together. And then we're going to give you some solutions at the end to kind of jumpstart you and get you moving in the right direction. So we're going to take a 5-second break. Don't go away. We'll dig into this topic together. Okay, well, thank you for staying with us and welcome back. We're talking about the different reasons why you need a good scope of service, okay? Number 1, owners don't know what property managers do for the fees they charge. Very few people in the marketplace that own a rental house have ever owned one before. Most people have bought and sold a house. Most people have done, some very little real estate, but most people have never owned a rental property. And sometimes we think as property managers that owners know or should know what we do and what things we are being paid for when we serve them in the rental home business. They don't. And you think, I don't know, 1 out of 10,000, 30,000, 50,000 people own a rental house. So when they come to you, they come with kind of a clean slate. They really don't know what you do. And if you don't tell them what you do for the fees you charge, they're just going to keep after you and after you to do more and more and more. You're going to be dragged into all kinds of services that you're not being paid for, you don't know how to do, you didn't agree to do, and you don't have the overhead and the people and the staff to do it. So it makes property management much, much harder not to have a scope of service. So owners don't know what you do. Sometimes very few owners are in a position of being a landlord. Okay, in addition, when owners don't know, you know what they do? They assume. And that's what gets us in all kinds of trouble. We've kind of taught the public in the real estate industry, we have taught the public to think we will do everything. When I was listing and selling houses, I was chasing $3,000, $8,000, $10,000 commissions. I would do just about anything the owner asked me to do. I'd go out and pull weeds. I would go out and meet Uncle Louie. I'd go out and meet the painter. I'd drive across town because I was chasing a really big check. And so the real estate industry has taught the public to expect a lot from their real estate agents, and we need to teach them that this is not like real estate. This is a nickel-dime, thin-margin service business, and we're trying to live on fumes of $80 a month, okay? So if you don't tell them, they assume that you will handle everything, okay? Number two, owners have other properties in other parts of the country, and what one manager does shouldn't drive what you do. We have owners that come to us, they own a house in Australia, or they own one in Denver, Michigan, maybe they own 5 or 10. And they'll say to us on a regular basis, well, my property manager in California handles all our utilities, why don't you? Or our property manager in Australia handles HOA dues payments, why don't you? Or my property manager in Atlanta handles my property line disputes and my insurance claims and my home warranties, why don't you? And so if somebody comes to you and they own a rental somewhere else, you're going to have a real problem competing with that property manager. And what negotiators will do, if they're owners, they'll negotiate and say, well, this landlord will do it, this manager will do it, you should do it as well. They say, I just expect that from you. And they'll do that to you. And if you don't set parameters, put bookends on your services and what you're willing to do for that lousy $80 a month management fee, they'll keep pushing you and bullying you and comparing you to other property managers. Try to get you to do things you shouldn't be doing. You're not being paid for, okay? So, my other manager does this, okay? Now you should, and the debate is on. So you want to start out with an owner relationship with tension? Let them assume. Let them compare you with another manager. That creates tension, hostility, and the owners sign up and the administration and management of the management process. You shouldn't do that. You should tell them up front, here's what we do for the service, here are the services we provide for the monthly management fee. We're happy to do things outside of that scope of service, but not for the $80 a month that you're paying us, okay? Let's look at the next one, number 3. Without setting owners' expectations in advance, conflict and tension ensues, right? You're in real estate. You should do everything. Owners are not accustomed to hearing no, or that will cost extra. When I was doing listing and selling, chasing $8,000 checks, I didn't say to the owner, here is my scope of service. Here are the things that I do as a listing agent. Heck no. There was no bookends. There was no limit of the services. I did everything the owner asked me to do, and more if necessary, because I was chasing big checks, and it was a sales model. Well, property management is a nickel-dime, thin-margin service model. It's different. And so if you're only getting $80 a month, you got to put bookends on your service. You got to make a list. Here's what I do for the monthly management fee. I'm happy to consider things outside of that scope of service, but not for the $80 a month you're paying me. Those services I will make available, but there's a fee attached to them, okay? And that's how you limit what owners bully you into doing, okay? Well, let's move on. Number 4, if limits are not set, you'll drown in staff overhead, okay? Without offsetting revenues to pay them. We got property managers in this town, students of ours, who are working 12, 14-hour days. They got half their family working for them. They literally are one-arm paper hangers, killing themselves to give good service to their owners because they didn't put a scope of service, a limitation, bookends on the services they offer for the $50 or $70 or $100 a month that the owner is paying them. And as a result, they get pulled in to doing all kinds of things for the owner that they're not being paid for. And what they do to give good service, they grow their staff and grow their staff and grow their staff to provide all these services, but the revenues don't grow. And they're choking on fumes of $80 a month management fees and providing all kinds of services they shouldn't be providing the owner. But because they didn't lay them out in a scope of service on the front end, they got volunteered, they let customer service drive it, and they got dragged into doing all kinds of stuff that you shouldn't be doing for the $80 a month they pay you. So, people in the sales business are driven by customer service. Customer service is a really good thing. But it gets out of whack in property management. Because in property management, It's a nickel-dime service business. Your response should be driven by your scope of service, not customer service, scope of service. So in sales, it's customer service, customer service, customer service. Now that you're in a different business, a nickel-dime business, you've got to have a scope of service. Certainly you need to be given great customer service. At Crown, for years, we made a ton of money, so we were able to hire a ton of people. We gave great customer service. But we put bookends on our services and say the $80 a month you pay me does not pay me to manage your utilities or your home warranty or your home association dues or your property line disputes or your insurance claims and all the crazy stuff that they want you to manage for $80 a month. The scope of service answers that. The scope of service solves that. The scope of service once and for all, once you get it together, will give you breathing room, make life sweeter, have your conversations with owners less tense and less stressful. You'll make a lot more money, a lot more money. Okay, a scope of service is critical for your survival. Without it, you're doing everything the owner asks you to do, whether you agreed to or not, but because you got bullied into it and you're not being paid to do it. So a scope of service is critical. Now, here's how we can help, okay? Here's where we're going. Go to trainingpropertymanagers.com, go to our website, go to products, and there's a big product there called scope of service. In that scope of service, there are 5 strategies that you can start using today. You don't have to buy the big package. Start with little pieces. Start accumulating some of these strategies to put bookends and control your owner's expectations so you're not drowning in things that you're doing for them without the revenues to offset it. 5 strategies, you get to tweak them and modify them to work in your model. So we're not saying do it the way we do it. You can't. It's a different model than you use. But you can take our scope of service and you can tweak it and polish it and tighten it down to say what you want to say to your owners. And then you get to go to an owner, and after you signed them up, you can give them a document. And you can say, here's a detailed list of the things that we do for that $80 a month you pay us. And it's a great way to get your business under control. It's a great way to save your staff. It's a great way to have more time to be with your family. It's a great way to cash in on this business, make a ton of money, and have a lot more fun with property management. So, myth number 7, having a scope of service really isn't that important, right? Wrong. You'll enjoy your business so much more with a good scope of service, and we're happy to get you there. Thanks for listening.